class teacher. I think that's all.
Welcome.
Hello. My name is Miriam. I'm the head teacher at the British School of Kampala, the secondary section. I'm always very excited to be here because I get to see Chantal. Take long to see Chantal tonight or this morning. I'm more excited to meet someone I've been friends with for 5 years online, Bill.
Awesome.
We've never met physically. In the audience, I have 3 teenagers that I've had to extract from school to come and listen to this, because many times we speak to other people's children and we forget our own children. So guys, hi. I'm really very excited to be here. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. Good morning. I'm called Betty Chan. I'm a counseling psychologist. Currently working with Safe Places, a rehabilitation center for alcohol and drug addicts. Thank you.
Yes. Can you hear me? Unfortunately, when I get the microphone, we might close when I'm still talking. So I need a timekeeper. Eh? Very serious, by the way. I am Bill Bekunda, and I usually shock people with the things I say. Even with the introduction, I am a sober alcoholic. Now, you've been hearing something else before, right? But I'm a sober alcoholic, and there's a reason as to why I'm introducing myself as one. But I am also a substance use prevention and treatment professional. I'm a father. I have 3 beautiful children, and very energetic. In fact, my morning status showed them somersaulting. So get my number, get my status, and if you hear what I say, what I have to say, and you need help, look for me.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then I would like to introduce my co-host, my buddy, my gango, my wife, hey. My roommate. Anyway, hey. PG series. So, Diane.
Hi, Diane Komunda, new parent of a teenager, as in a new teenage parent. Like, we need a club. So I'm really excited about this conversation because we're at the door. Yeah, we have 2 children, a preteen and a teen.
Thank you very much. How many are excited? Let me hear a shout if you're excited. Thank you very much. My name is Danny Komunda. I will be a co-host with my wife, Diane. So, Diane, over to you.
Okay, so substance abuse, like he said, it used to be just drug abuse. That's what, some of us grew up, the age that we grew up with, right? I think some kids may not even know. So we don't want to assume. So I'd like to ask the specialists on my right to just sort of help us, ease us into this subject so we are on the same page. When we are talking substance abuse, what are we talking about? Bill.
Okay. Substance abuse. This is the excessive use of psychoactive drugs. And most times when we talk of substance abuse, everybody thinks of, marijuana, cocaine. And we forgot that even this prescribed medicine can be abused. And most of the time, it starts from there. The aspirins. And before we continue, I'll actually give an example when I was in high school. Young, they used to put kadankes and all that. But some kids know these things before others. Do you see that? You have children, and you do not know who they are associating with, but they know. I got the taste of it because you're a group of friends, and I got a taste of it in a soda. I got high. I did not know they had spiked my soda. So yes, prescription drugs are part of this too. Bill?
Yes, for me, I'll speak simpler English. This microphone has, because we find that teenagers know these things even more than the parents. They do a lot of research. So a psychoactive substance is a substance that changes the mental state of the brain. You know what changing a mental state is, or what changing a physical state. If I break my leg, if it's cut off from here, my physical state changes. Does that make sense? So now I cannot walk the same way I used to walk with 2 legs. And therefore I need the support of maybe a crutch or a wheelbarrow. Not a wheelbarrow. That's in my village. A wheelchair. Okay? How come you guys, it's normal for me to say wheelbarrow and you? I'm not alone. We are all. Okay. So when your physical state changes, everything about your motion changes. When your mental state changes, everything about your thinking changes. It can't get simpler than that, I think, right? So that is a psychoactive substance. Now, when you take a substance that changes what your brain structure is like, that's dangerous, isn't it? So if you use anything that changes your mental state in a way it is not supposed to be used, then you're abusing it. And that's what we call a substance abuse. It doesn't matter, like she said, whether it has been given to you, her drink was spiked, and young boys in school like spiking girls' drinks. Yes, is everyone above 30? Is it PG or... Oh, I take it easy. We are okay. But usually it's the girls who face this. Unfortunately, in today's world, even boys are beginning to face the same. Yeah, there is gender balance. They don't care who is a boy, who is a girl. They will still spike the drink for the purpose of maybe engaging you in immoral activities. Let me tone down. I can be a bit... even me, I fear myself sometimes. I have to take it easy. So what happens is it doesn't matter if it has been given to you unknowingly or if you have taken it yourself. But the moment you take it and it gets into your body system, it goes to the brain. And it changes the mental structure. It changes the way you respond or you react or you think or act. It changes the pleasure-reward system. It makes you happy. Have you seen people who drink? I like attacking alcohol. When they are drinking wine, you can drink wine alone, and every sip you take, you're smiling harder. No jokes are being cracked, no movie, you're by yourself. And that's what happens. It's changing your mental state. It's causing the release of dopamine, and therefore it's giving you an easy response to pleasure. And therefore you want to do it again and again and again. Now it becomes abuse if you reach a point whereby you need it to get pleasure. Okay? So we understand that. So the abuse is very common, and many people like, especially with the psychoactive substances like alcohol, which are kind of normal because even in our churches, I see them giving some 12%, for drinking. Yes, Holy Communion. All right? So, and Holy, yes, the other terms. So, because it is used generally and socially and is acceptable, it is considered as a socially acceptable drug to use, or socially acceptable substance. But unfortunately, and I never spare alcohol, it is the most dangerous of all the psychoactive substances, majorly because it's acceptable, but also because it is a molecule with the sole purpose, only, it has only one purpose. I'll give you the chemical formula, C2H5OH, the sole purpose of combustion. I need a senior one to tell us what combustion is. Senior one, where are you? Combustion. What is combustion? to burn and give off energy. It's flammable, right? So, C2H5OH is a formula that you will find in all flammables. 2 carbon atoms, a hydroxyl, and 5 hydrogen atoms. Jet fuel, petrol, diesel, kerosene, waraji, beer, champagne, cognac, what do you drink? Bacardi, sanitizer, and kavera or kachupa waraji. No difference. Even amarula, especially amarula. That's why they have to make it milky so that it can diffuse the... And I'll give you an example. When you drink it, what happens? I don't even have to explain that much. Thank you very much. So, because it's socially acceptable, and I like adding in this one, there are more drunk people driving on a Monday morning than on a Saturday or Sunday night. Because the liver can only remove about 100 grams, which is a shot per hour. A shot, 100 grams of alcohol from the system. So if you see people who drink 12% alcohol and they drink the whole bottle or half of it, you know that it can take 5 or 6 hours to get out. So the ones who go to sleep at 3 a.m., you wake up at 7 to go to work. If they check your blood alcohol content, BAC, guess what? Kaunyemu can lock you up. So those are things which we don't usually understand. But before we get into this, and because I saw the limited time, I hope it has been sorted. There's a certain video I wanted us to watch, which would explain most of everything so that I don't have to talk that much, right? Is it possible? DJ, Diana, did it work? Okay, so, eyes masokulutimbe. Should I continue with the jazz as they organize themselves?
I think so.
Yes.
I think
So I will, in that case, I will explain why I say I'm a sober alcoholic. And I want to demystify something. When you abuse a substance, because we are talking about substance abuse, when you abuse a substance, it then abuses you. It puts you in a position of incapacity to manage yourself. Because what has it done? It has changed your mental structure. You are no longer in control. You put it in, we say this, it starts as fun, then it becomes fun with problems, then the problems become more than the fun, then slowly you kick out the fun and you remain with problems. And you're in a position where you cannot help yourself, and therefore you need to be helped. And that's when an intervention happens. Okay, over to there.
Young people are dying. They're overdosing on heroin and fentanyl. You wonder, how did this young person get to this horrible spot in life? Let's turn back the clock. Go back in time, to younger days, to understand how addiction starts, to understand how to prevent it from happening. While each addiction situation is different, there are generally 3 ingredients. First, teens have a lot to cope with. Many teenagers are trying to figure out, who am I? What is my identity? And there is stress. When teens were asked, they said the #1 reason they used drugs was to deal with the pressures and stress of school. And some teens have to cope with stress at home. There could be emotional neglect, abuse, divorce, a family member with an illness, a family member who's addicted, the death of a loved one, money troubles, or other challenges. Many teens also need to cope with depression or social anxiety. In addition to a lot to cope with, some teenagers, through no fault of their own, have poor coping skills. Maybe their parent or parents have been caught up in their work or other family crises and do not even realize that their teenage child needs help. Maybe their parent or parents are struggling themselves and are simply not able to teach their kids how to constructively cope with life. And teens who experience day-to-day depression or social anxiety may develop an unwarranted negative self-image. This can make it tougher to cope. The third ingredient to addiction that may be present is certain brain chemistry. Some people, by virtue of how their brain processes chemicals, get hooked easier. You can attribute this to your family tree, otherwise known as genetics. Genetic susceptibility doesn't have to be present for a teen to develop addiction, but it can increase their chances. All three of these pieces do not have to be present for addiction to happen. Any one piece, if strong enough, can lead a teen down the addiction path. So how does addiction start? Here's what happens. A teen has a lot to cope with and poor coping skills. They try alcohol and drugs. Maybe their brain chemistry causes them to be more susceptible. The teen's brain learns that, at least in the short term, the alcohol or drugs gives them a way to temporarily neglect or forget the stresses in their life, which is a flawed way of coping. That can become their identity. The party friend who is willing to try anything, or the friend who can get you drugs. It might give them a way to fit in socially and have fun. It might help them for a moment forget about their stress. The teen starts using alcohol or drugs more frequently. This is where things come apart. Repeated use does three things. The teen's brain has learned that, in the short term, alcohol and drugs can help them cope. With repeated use, this bad learning loop becomes ingrained and deeper. The teenager gets to the point of automatically reaching for alcohol or drugs when they're stressed, without even thinking about it. With repeated use, the chemicals in alcohol and drugs also change the brain, making the teenager even less self-aware of how they're going off the rails. And repeated use makes life situations worse, which just increases stress and feeds into the negative loop. Without a change, this path ends in addiction, jail, or death. 1 out of 10 adults struggle with addiction. Addiction leads to broken families, broken promises, and broken hearts, and currently an increasing number of deaths. So how do we prevent this from happening? How do we prevent addiction? Here's how. First, a message for parents. Spend concentrated one-on-one time with your kids, particularly when they get into middle school and all through high school and college. Truly listen to them with love and without judgment. Understand what they are coping with. Help them get through. If you need help, talk to an experienced professional. Do not wait. Act now. And remember, your child could simply be experimenting and have a brain more susceptible to alcohol and drugs. It could be that simple and scary. Or your child could be going through something that you're not fully aware of. There is inevitably a lot going through their head. When you get in a car accident in the wintertime, the accident doesn't happen when you hit the telephone pole. It happens 200 feet before that when you start skidding on the ice. Your child may be skidding right now, and neither they nor you even recognize it. Act now. Do not assume they can self-correct. They need an established support system. Listen to them and help them immediately. Now, a message for teenagers. You are not alone. It may feel that way. Who else could be going through this or having these thoughts? But whatever you're experiencing, many others have experienced this too, and they've come out happy on the other end. Do not take on the identity of the party friend. It will kill you. You can find an identity without drug and alcohol dependency. Your true identity, a better identity. Finally, be open to receiving help from your family, a friend, or from a professional, wherever it comes from. When your body has an illness, you see a doctor. When your body has an injury, you see a physical therapist. But what about your brain? When you're on a bad path, a therapist can help you get on a positive one. The therapist can help you step back, gain perspective, and develop strong coping skills no matter what life throws your way, like a personal trainer for the brain. Getting help is a strength, not a weakness. You deserve to be truly happy. You deserve to be comfortable with your own thoughts. You can be. Peace and love in memory of our oldest son, Alex.
Wow. Should we wrap up? No, we still have a lot to discuss. Betty. Yes. I do know of safe places. Actually, do know of a particular child I was helping who ended up there a couple of months ago. What are the statistics? What are the numbers from your experience with substance abuse?
Now, one thing is currently Uganda is among the highest at substance abuse rate. That's according to World Health Organization. And kids are starting way too early. I know as parents, we are busy. We're busy, and we have left these children on their own. To the maids to raise, to the aunties. Oh, go visit him at school. Oh, I'm a bit busy, I'm traveling and all that. So we miss out a lot. We're missing out on a lot of signs. One thing I keep saying is, to heal our children, we need to come down to the level to know how they handle stress. How does my child handle stress? Have you seen him react at a point when he's not getting something done? What does he do? Do you as a parent know how he handles challenges, how he cooperates? A lot of kids struggle, and we are good. We have this amazing thing as parents. Oh, yeah, I'm raising a child. Just as we say, as fire warms, fire also consumes. Water also drowns us. Just like human relationships. We nurture, but we can destroy too. We can terrorize our own kids. And as Bill was saying, our culture has made alcohol so normal. You hear somebody at work, I'm stressed, let me go to the bar. It has become a normal thing. So our kids are walking in this pattern, knowing it's a normal thing. When you're stressed, go drink. You see? And when you're drinking, is that helping the issue? Or we are numbing it for a bit just? So it is from the beginning, the foundation is where we are messing up. And then we want the kids to handle themselves better, but as parents, we are failing. Start with this child. When your child is reacting, why? Notice the signs. When my child has started withdrawing, why is he secretive now? What do you know there? This thing of, okay, go get money, go to the malls with your friends. Do you know the friends he has? Can we take an extra step to really know your child? So yes, the statistics is high. Kids, they are bright. Oh, teenagers are bright. And totally, you know, we think, we have passed through that. These kids think we do not know that. These kids have names of things that will shock you. Lately, technology. Kids are having phones everywhere. We do not know how they're getting the drugs on these phones. But all this is happening right in your house, back at home. Weird signs and chats that you don't understand, and you're like, these are teenager things, and you brush it aside. So the one thing is, we know who has stated it. Uganda is among the highest in substance abuse. Kids, lately awareness is coming. There's at least the stigma. There's always been stigma on mental health, but a lot of us are getting into awareness. And I thank God for this, the parents who are really seeking help, having therapy involved. And this is something we need at schools. This is something I keep saying, I wish our national curriculum could put in something about mental health. Like, let kids start learning about personal growth and awareness from the beginning. If we could stand on the board and in this morning a teacher is teaching and showing the brain how the brain shrinks each time you're taking alcohol, that can give us a picture. I keep telling my clients, the young ones, I'm like, I wish each time you pick a bottle or get that weed, you're seeing your brain there. See how the chemical is messing up with this area, with this area, with this area. That's what is lacking. We are at a high risk.
Yeah. Let me add in a cruder fashion, because she's making it sound like Mary Poppins on an umbrella. But from studies which are ongoing, because, research is not something. If I came to Viv Church and I said, guys, bring money, I want to do a research project, you'd be like, yeah, what are those terms you use? Those ones. Because you want to see where will we get our returns from. It is not, let me leave it. But 1 out of every 2 people in Uganda is affected. 1 out of every 2 people. And there is a study which was being done and is still ongoing from Makerere and from Butabika, which was showing that, because I can simply ask the question, is there anybody who doesn't know someone who has got a problem with a substance? Is there someone who doesn't know anyone? I mean, if everybody knows somebody, how much worse can it get? So there are no particular figures because research, there's no research. Nobody wants to put money into that field, But Uganda has been ranked in the world as one, usually either the number 1, number 2, or number 4 in the last 10 years in the use or the per capita of alcohol alone. Now we are seeing, for instance, at safe places, it is always full of young boys age 17, 18, 19, 20. And why she was saying that there are so many names they give to these things. Every time a new person comes in, they come in with a new drug, and you're like, okay, which one is this one? And then there's one who came in with a combo because he was a cook. I think he has been in and out of rehab 3-4 times now. But it started when he was in one of these beautiful schools around Kampala. I don't want to mention it, might be, and it was an international school. But they will tell you that, but why me? Why me? Everyone is using this stuff. Now, that is something to worry about. But I know that I am talking a lot, and I'm going to give you 1 more minute. And that is about prevention. People don't understand that prevention is a system. Prevention is a system, it's not a talk. There are people who believe that when a child talks to Bill, they'll get so scared they'll never drink or smoke in their life. Or if they have started, they will stop. Or if they have a problem, they'll get correct. No, it is a system. Prevention, what I studied, is you have got to take a system, say to British school, where you talk to the non-teaching staff, teaching staff, student leaders, and administration. And you show them what to do, how to manage it. The student leaders, how to identify who has a problem, because they always do. And when they identify them, what do they do? The most common thing young people talk about is they say, I cannot report my friend because he'll be expelled. Now, the admin needs to know that you don't expel a child. The child should be sent, if they have failed to go through the counseling system at school or the intervention by their fellow student leaders, and nobody fears to report them, etc., that now they need to be sent for mandatory treatment. Because I was suspended in my senior 4 for using, I started in senior 2. And when I was suspended, I did not come back better. I came back bitter. Because I was home alone, My parents were going to work, the other siblings were in school. They had to leave me some money to manage myself. I was bored. Did you expect me to read? I read a bit. I would go spend the whole day with hooligans around who don't go to school, drinking, smoking. Then at 7, because I knew my mom came 7:30 or 8, run back home, shower, chewing gum, sit on the table, open the book. Am I not reading? Hey, Bill, you see, if you are like this at school. And I'm like, I wish I was like this at school, because it would mean I would spend the whole day smoking and drinking, right? So it's never what it looks like. And those are the questions we need to take. So when it comes to that, prevention is a system that is put in place, even in the family. So there are different, I've forgotten the terminologies, man, my head. But there is a school system, there is a family system, whereby if you identify this problem or you realize there's a genetic predisposition, you bring it to the family and show them this is how you do it. But otherwise, we can go there and entertain these young people, and tell them, man, I used to do this, escape. I tell them how I used to escape, and they say, you don't know, you're old school. You entertain them and you go. Yet you have not left impact where you have been. I thought that was very important before we get lost into more scary stuff.
Thank you. So every time substance abuse comes up, because of the age, I guess, teenage, school, like there's always a thing, school, and we'll get to home after that. Marianne, in your experience, and I think a bit Chantal as well, but yeah, more so Marianne, because I think the age, the age is with you. What's a situation at school?
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to start with a disclaimer. Everything that I'm going to talk about has got nothing to do with the British School of Kampala. It's got everything to do with my 22 years of experience as a teacher and someone who is in touch with school going. Well, thank you for this platform. And I hope that there are people online watching us. This is in our past and present. We are not dealing with something new. And I keep telling many parents in my space, you are not the only one, but remember that's your child. Because usually we are going to begin to assume it's the thing. No, it's not the thing. If it was the thing, I'll tell you, even in our time, you can tell that our peers used to get zonked up. So it's a thing. The only difference is that we have so many channels of communication, so there's a lot of knowledge. And so because the channels of communication are many, we need to address this issue by using those channels. And communication today, people will think it's phones. It's many things. It's borders. They have finished our children. The border men who deliver something all the time have understood the rules of the home, the rules of the school, so they know how to deliver. This thing is delivered in a very fantastic style. It's in a complex box and it's packed and sealed. It's in milk and it's well packed. It's in boxes of perfume, beautiful. Now, issue is that is packed is not consumed by the person that it's being delivered to. It is being consumed by more than just one person. And each one of those persons reacts differently. So what am I dealing with in my space? I am dealing with the provider. I'm telling you, the provider, the consumer has no problem. Many consumers are very naive. They are innocent. That's why they misuse many substances. It's the person who is delivering, who is providing, and who is supplying. I've gone to Instagram and befriended a supplier of 5 schools. He's one of the richest guys, and we've gone down to the bank to dig him down. He's going to 21 now, and as of last month, but one, he had 126 million on his account. It's a beautiful, ugly business. Many people are thriving in it. Children would rather steal and go and deal in drugs, not take them, deal in drugs, because it's big time business. Children are stealing, they don't sleep, they are trading. So what we should be dealing with is not consumption, in my opinion. It should be the source, to help people understand, hey, when you deliver your children home, there's another person who intercepts the journey between sleeping time and arrival and sleeping time. Someone else delivers another pack. At school, if your pickup time is 2:30, you better be there in between 2:30 and 3:30, because your child knows you'll be delaying. I can swear to you, they'll find their way of getting it. Now, what is happening? Post-COVID time, we are dealing with something that people use carelessly: stress, depression. These words are very huge. And because every one of us has got a component in our body that reacts the way it has to react, anyone can get stressed. I deal with things differently. Chantal deals with them differently. He deals with things differently. So when we carelessly use language as parents, as guardians, as people in young people's lives, they capture. It's like when you use happy words. People say, oh, Miriam, you take photos a lot. I know why. Because it gets the vibe out of me. It's my way of, being there. It's my way of wasting my beautiful time. It's my way of being happy. It's my way of smiling. That's how I release certain energies. So then I always want to ask, what do you do at the time I'm taking pictures? So I've created a system in school. And it's a very interesting system because it's called FIRE. If you watch my statuses, you'll always think, wow. Every morning, I must hug every child on arrival. I am looking for a point of emotional connection with the children. And I'm telling parents, once your child begins to run away from me, they don't want to hug me, they don't look at me in the face, for me, I begin to get suspicious. And many times I am right. Many children who are dragged or zonked up they have a careful attitude. They don't want you to get closer to them. They are always neat. So you don't have a reason to get into their space. And so it calls for a lot of working with intention as a teacher. Forget purpose. Purpose is when we arrive here, but do what? But intention is when we really speak about these things that are in our time. We must work with intention. You must find an emotional point of connection with your service point. I tell Chief, who is at Uganda Matters, when I come to your school, don't hug me with one hand. I'm your mother. I'm the first woman you ever knew. You must show me love. Hug me with two hands and fall here, because I want to smell him. I want to feel his heartbeat. I want to feel the changes. I'm his first doctor. That's my approach. That is my approach. He may have a different approach. But what I'm trying to say is we must be at our point of service with intention and with emotions. So my husband asks, why did you get him from school? He's in S5 doing PCM. I swear, this is the best thing I could have ever done for my child. To listen to these people without me paying money in a comfortable seat. His life can never be the same. Whereas you prepare these talks with intention, and I can really tell the way you communicate to us online, be there, will you arrive on time? Doreen even suggested we arrive at 9 and first talk. And when I arrived here, I told them, we know way too much, but who are we talking to? Do people actually understand that this talk was very important, that they log on with their children? He's talking about processes. He's talking about policies. Do you actually have a policy in your home which says, don't get out of my home? Because it's my home. I don't know who you're going to
get exposed. I came in and I saved a lot. I saved them from a lot. Things that they were about to start doing, they stopped because I came in time, but I was present. I stopped. And actually, what happened, I was like, I think I talked about it in the last talk we had. For me, COVID was a blessing in disguise, sort of, because it forced me to be there. It forced me to be there, and at that time is when I reset so many things and I did so many things. I was there. You have to be there in your child's life to know the personality. Are they easily influenced? You know, you can change, you can build someone's personality to understand their surroundings, their friends, who are the people in their lives who are influencing them, to talk to them, you know, explain to them, speak to them, tell them about your experience, and also pray. I will not stop without saying pray with them. I prayed with my children, I talked to them, and prayers give them confidence. It builds them, it's a safe place for them. Like we've seen in the video, many children are scared of the world. The world is so crazy. And because they are in fear, they need something to reassure them, to give them confidence, to shield them. And for me, prayer worked. So we'll spend time reading the Bible, talking about the Bible and everything, and they learned how to deal with stress through Bible scriptures, all this, how to build personality. We'll talk about characters in the Bible, how, you speak about Solomon, you speak about David, and they understand how they live their life, how they became influential and everything, and they learned from those characters. So prayer and Bible time. So that was the first one, prevention measures, being there to understand. Then the second point of prevention, to get your children involved in different activities. You know, like the Bible says, an idle mind is the devil workshop. That is in Proverbs 16:27-29. Children who are doing nothing are prompt to do anything. You know, my children will tell me that these children who do sport, they play soccer, they play because they know that as an athlete you have to have a breath which is always. So you can't afford to drink, you can't afford to. So they have to be in love with an activity that they do. So they are not forced to try and do other things. So get them involved in activities, physical activities especially. Your child, make sure they play a sport. Sometimes they will refuse it. In the beginning, if you have to force them, they pick up the interest. Yeah, you know, get them active. And then the third one, which is it must be the role model. Children learn by looking at us. You know, you can't be there drinking and you don't want your child to drink. Me, that's the time I stopped drinking. When I saw my children were getting in a dangerous zone, I was like, wow. I removed the bottles at home. I removed everything. I stopped, and abruptly, you know something that affects your children? It will make you do anything. I used to love my glass of wine. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll watch my movie, Netflix, popcorns, and set up, like you said, you know, to release stress. But that day I understood that I cannot afford that. I was the role model to my children. I said, they're looking at it. I told them, if I can stop taking the wine, you can also stop it. So that's the 3 points, you know, of prevention. Then the curative measures, again, prayer. If your child is involved, God can change. There is nothing God cannot do. And then get them therapy. And show compassion and love. Do not discriminate them. That's what I've learned. And at school, I'm doing the same. I talk to the kids at school. I speak with them. We talk about the things. I involve them. And yeah, we can start as early as 3 years. They already know about all these things. So yes, as a parent and as someone who works at school, those are the things that I'm using. And I'm so glad I met all of you, and I'll definitely keep your contacts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chantal. Thank you very much, Chantal. Thank you, Marian. You know, when Marian is speaking, you better take notes. I know you also want to keep her to keep going and going. So, Bill, you have an interesting story. You said you began senior 2. Was that SMAC? I'll not mention this school. I think you did mention. You've mentioned it before in your stories. And what influenced you? How did you begin? And maybe how bad did it get? You know, Bill has an interesting picture on Facebook. He's before, when he's about a quarter of that size, and sitting in a very dark, dingy place. I don't know why he liked taking pictures then, but anyway. Yeah, so, Bill, your story.
Yes, and I'm a videographer. I know how to edit, film. That's why I like.
Kalama.
Diana, where are you? You know, it's something I took on when the problem had escalated. But anyhow, yes, my story, you know, my story is being told by everyone here. You know, it's just that they are not mentioning Bill did this. It would have been better to say Bill used to. Because when I was talking to my dad, I would sit in the far corner. Then he says, come here. I'm like, why? Then he'd say, no, I want you to sit next to me. And I say, what if you beat me? You know, we all had an excuse. So that was talking about me. Talking about all these things. I didn't want to be in the prayers at home. I didn't want to be hugged. Because definitely you'll smell something. Because even if they are tablets, even if it's medication, you sweat it out. It comes out of your sweat. So hugging is very, very, very important. Someone can bathe, put perfume, blah, blah, name it. But when they start to sweat, it's all over. So basically they were telling my story. But I'm going to make it the briefest. But this panel is for World Cup, by the way. Whoever is in charge of doing this, it shouldn't end today. And it should be pushed as much as possible. Because there is so much content, and I think every school should have someone like you. Maybe you should be training them, you know. But I started in school. In my primary, I was in Kabale Preparatory. It was the best school in the whole of Africa at the time. And you're not the oldest here, by the way. I am leading the group. So in that school, we had a maximum at least of 12 people per class. My class had 8. And the biggest punishment in that school was to stand outside the headmistress' office, who was a white lady. And you'd be shaking, my God. And the only thing she could do is to come and shout you down or give you a piece of advice, whatever she chose. Sometimes she'd even be like, she gives you a book to read. You're like, oh, but not Chiboko. So in that school, I finished P7. I was a mommy's boy. I was this handsome guy who... All my aunties used to come and pinch my cheeks. Oh, Chun. It's cute. I'm like, okay. But I finished P7 and I was the best in the region. We're only 2 people in the whole of Kigezi district who got 4s. Me and a friend of mine called Dick Muhwezi. I was given a scholarship to go to Kigezi High School. I said, hell no. Come on, man. My first choice was SMAC. They said, okay, we are going to take you to SMAC. But there we are paying, yeah, come on, you know. So I went to join the Kampala boys. I reached there if the intimidation was real. Rich people. English. I didn't know that my English was disorganized at that until I met those guys. Then guys already knew physics, chemistry, mathematics, yet we were all in VAC together. Then there was this guy called Ojambo, who was the 3rd in the country. And I had seen him in the newspaper, and I'm like, what? But anyway, I came in. The first term, I did my exam. I failed to do my exams because I got a panic attack. I was so scared and intimidated of everybody and everything that I felt sick. My father was a doctor. They took me home. He checked malaria, typhoid, there was no HIV, I think, at the time. That's how old I am. And then they said, there's nothing wrong with this boy. So he asked me, do you want to do exams? So I told him, but Daddy, since I've missed today, why can't I just leave him? He's panicking. You know, we have a chiga. That's why, So they give him soda. They gave me soda, I drank, and he told me, you sleep. 30 minutes later, I was okay. And he says, do you want to go to school? I said, no. I went home. So I went back to school the next term. I went to pick my clothes, went back to school the next term, and I did my exams this time because they told me, this time even if you're panicking, I'll come and I'll ask for permission to be the invigilator. Is it invigilator? That one. I will be the one to sit there. So I knew, no dodging this time. And my position was third. I even beat Ojambo, by the way. So senior 2, we begin. Again, I'm third. So I became comfortable and said, you know what? I only have 2 people to disturb me. Let me concentrate on these 2. But the devil had a plan for me. A good one. At the beginning of that term, these boys had noticed that my mother gives me good pocket money. And so they wanted me in their circle. So they convinced me to go with them. I refused to drink on day 1. You know, if you have a boarding school? Boarding school, day 1 is confusing. People coming in, others going out, what? Others are being sent back for not having fees slips, so they don't know who is there, who is not. So they said, you come with us. Let's go, you see how we operate, so that you stop giving us lectures. The lectures were, I used to tell them, stop smoking or drinking your father's money. They work hard. Why are you being a rebel? Behave yourselves. I was that guy, the nag. You know, they even used to call me a spy, that I was a spy for the headmaster. And then, so they said, come with us. Now I'm seeing all these cool guys, you know, with shoes like the ones I wear now, T-shirts, you know, with hair crew cuts, and they are convincing me. Imagine all you guys convincing me that I should go with you to Java's. And I'm like, we go. But I knew I was going to give them a lecture. Long story short, I went unwillingly, and I came back with a renewal of the mind. In brief. Total transformation. I went wearing butter shoes. When I came back, I didn't want those butter shoes. I went sad and happy in fear, you know, hiding. When I took the 3rd sip, I was awakened. I even had more kabozi than all these people. I led the team back to school. They even allowed, because I was so drunk and happy, they allowed me to lead them so that in case they catch me, they know where the teachers are. And the next morning, I woke up a hero. Nobody had ever applauded me, but I was being called by senior 6 students to go to their dormitory. Do you know what kind of privilege that? Ask your kids. I felt good. From that day onwards, I knew I had found the source of life, happiness, confidence. I don't know. I can't even explain it. So from that time onwards, at the end of that term, this is the transformation. I jumped from 3rd to 25th. Next, I sold my 11 pairs of trousers because I went to the guy who makes trousers. They made for me 3 different colors, blue, green, gray. What do you call those guys who sit on Chiwalani? That's my father's thing. Yamato shirts. You guys are going to guess my age, right? Yamato shirts, butter shoes, and the guy of the machine. I sold everything to buy 2 trousers and like 3 T-shirts. Everything changed. I no longer spoke to my mother the same way. I was no longer happy to be on the dining table. I was no longer telling her, Mommy, I need this. I was telling her, Mommy, I am going to buy this. Give me money. I doubled the grab. I refused the suitcase. Now I wanted the other suitcase which had combination lock. Yes, I'm a Muchiga. You know, we sorry, I might be bring a bad name. But I joke about it a lot. So my grades went down. My character changed. All of a sudden I became hostile. And my mother said, but what happened to you? And then my aunties who liked pinching my cheeks. Of course now I'm like, don't leave me alone. No hugs. They're like, no, it's a phase. He's only just growing up. It happens to teenagers. And so they had just given me permission to do what I want. And I started doing what I want. What did it lead to? Senior 4, I got my first suspension. They told me not to go back to the same school to smack because if I did, my character was too doubtful. And then so I went to a school where even my parents said it's impossible to expel, suspend, or even do anything to him. He will finish. And the school was called Namasagali College. So I went there for HSC. The alcohol hadn't yet drained my brain, so much. I was doing PCB with mathematics. You know, sometimes you want to take it an extra. So pure math, physics, chemistry, biology, I'm the guy. I was expelled during my finals, senior 6. First of all, I was expelled from Namasagali College. That's one. Number 2, I was expelled in between the practicals and the theory. Unheard of. They could sue the school because now I belong to UNEB. The worst they are supposed to do is you commute from maybe 3 kilometers out of school every day. But my case, I think God loves me so much. He says, no. And so I was expelled. Of course, I can't get into all those details. We'll never finish. But then I had this loving mother who said, let me change his scenario. Let me remove him from Kampala where other children are spoiling him and take him to a place where he can start afresh. And they picked me from Kampala 2 weeks into my vacation and took me to Bonn in Germany. I was living in the Ugandan embassy under diplomatic custody. My uncle was an ambassador. I couldn't speak the language. I was speaking English, they speak Dosh. In 3 days, I found where to buy alcohol during the day. You know it's illegal there. I had already got new buddies, Sudanese who could only speak Arabic and German. And then they led me to some Nigerians, name it. They were giving me 400 Dosh marks every week as pocket money to go to school and study. Because I was supposed now to do a university pre-entrance exam. So you learn the language, do the exams, and instead I was spending the day doing what? Drinking. So, in a few months, my uncle says I cannot manage him because I think one of the most damaging things I did was I took the embassy car and I drove out. Normally, it was okay because they would let me. Then I went to drink and show off that I'm an African prince. You know, Nigerians like saying the African prince. Now I be prince, I be Ugandan, you don't collect money. You don't. I showed them I'm a prince from Kabale. I think I even told them that I'm from Nyabinji. And then I drove this car, I got drunk, and coming back, I scraped a whole line of cars on the street. You can imagine how bad it was. Of course, I didn't face the consequences. They took care of them, etc., and sent me back home. Yeah, they deported me. You've gotten the right word. They sent me back home. Let me be easy on myself also. I don't want to be too evil. Some of you will get scared. So they sent me back home. Now, during that, when I came back home, I had only multiplied. So my mother didn't know. But an uncle of mine came up with a good idea. Let me take him to Russia, where those guys are no nonsense. The land of vodka. So I remember reaching Russia. I missed out the part. My father died during that time, everything. His burial, I was drunk. They woke me up to go and bury him. Then I went, it's crazy. Then they sent me to Russia. And the day I reached Russia, I found a bottle of vodka, the Muzinga. We understand the big wine, but in vodka, 60% alcohol. And it was cheaper than the Muzinga of Pepsi. Next to it. I couldn't read the words, but I could read the numbers. I'm like, thank you, God. You have brought me to the right place. And the story goes on. I went to do medicine. I failed to do it. I changed to engineering. I failed to do it because I felt, no, I think it's too much. My father had told me I'm not built for it. I like playing too much. And so I did international relations, a 5-year course, a straight course for a master's. I thank God that I'm a master's student. That's the only thing you can clap for now. The rest, first ignored. And so when I finished, those people are a little bit more tolerant of alcoholics and drug addicts than we are. Because for them, it's a normal thing. And they help them, they treat them. So they'll even call you, oh, voti alcoholic, voti no davai, smatri. And then they'll give you something to eat, take some zaguska before you leave. Then if you fall down, they'll carry you. But in Uganda, when I came back with those tactics, drinking, you're shouting, you fall down, they beat you up, they throw you in Butabika jail. So it was a contrast. And I eventually ended up in rehabilitation. Now, in rehab, that's the first time when I got to understand that there is what we call an alcoholic. But way after that, I think I got sober for 7 years, then I had a relapse because with the growth, I started ignoring all the signs and, and I wanted to be a rich man, and my rich friends were owning hotels and bars, those guys, and then I'm there like, but to build a hotel, start the bar, you have got the structure. And I said, yes, why not? A man who had been in rehab 7 years back opens a bar. And I'm there standing at the counter selling. Then some guys would be like, you don't drink and are you poisoning us, you man? But when there is something to drink, people will drink. So there I am. I joined the Bar Owners Association. I started getting to know those guys. And then a year and a half into it, some clever guy came and assured me that I need to break the ice with a black label. And I said, let me take just one shot. That's why. Then I went and hid my own bottle because it had activated something. And then I lost everything within 3 months. My poor wife who had met this organized guy, she used to see me going to church, driving, I drive manual cars always. And I would pour on her dust. Then I met her in some office. Then, I was this guy, church, we go and pray, like I'm here now. Holy, sanctified, covered by the blood. Demon chaser. Then that night, I came back singing a different song. She's like, okay, I think I should ask her one day, what happened? What did you think? Because I have never asked, actually. But I totally transformed. I make too many transformations. Whoop, 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 whoop. Now this time, it ended in tears. Young man, she tells me, go sort yourself out. I go sort myself out. I went to Butabika, asked them to take me in. They refused. Said, maybe a drug dealer. Tell your parents to bring you. They didn't want anything to do with me. It's a long story. And the story can be entertaining. It can be painful. It can be all kinds of emotions, depending on how I share it. Okay? But the reason I'm sharing it now is because I want to express one simple fact. And the fact is, when I started in senior 2, did I go willingly? Did I even want to? Was it in my plans? When I went, what happened? How powerful is it? A substance that I can put inside me and it changes everything about me. Today I look at people who drink, who smoke, who take drugs. None of them is doing it by choice. Irrespective of what they will say. Not a single one. But you will develop reasons as to why I am doing it. Even if it's just a little bit of wine. 1 glass per day. You're doing it because you want to have a certain effect. And not because you chose to want it. Because you ask any 11, 10, 12, 13-year-old usually, who has not engaged, who is with family and all that, ask them if they will ever drink, smoke, or do drugs. And they'll tell you the truth. I cannot. But they need that entry point. Like she was saying, friends, neighbors, schoolmates, bullying, peer pressure, name it. Mine was pressure. It was just exerting pressure. And then they introduce you to the substance. And then you take it. And then you get possessed by it. And I'm very intentional. Thank you for talking about intentions. I'm very intentional about the language that I use. English was my best subject, by the way. You know, in senior 4, senior 4, I was the best in the country, although I failed the rest. Physics, English, the whole country bowed down. So I'm very intentional with it. And Ruchiga, sorry, I do that to make people not, to cool you down a bit. Nobody intentionally wants to use a psychoactive substance. It is the mental change that happens that makes a person divert from what they originally thought or how they originally thought. It is not only physical. This is a spiritual thing. And even in recovery, we say, without God, because this is something that happens that you cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot feel. It is not included in any of the senses that we have. You'll take it and it will take over. And therefore you'll find you're telling someone, why don't you stop? Can't you see it's destroying your life? 2 lies. Why can't you stop? I don't know. Even me, I don't know why I can't stop. I like it. Makes me feel better. It consoles me. Then, also, why can't you stop? It's destroying your life. What you see as destroying, for me, is building. Because every time they would find me blacked out and say, Bill, you're about to die. We carried you. We took you for a glucose injection. I don't know. Do you know where I was at that time when they were carrying me? You remember the story you were telling us before? I was enjoying. In fact, when they lift me, I feel like I'm flying on my own. You guys. So they are crying, Bill, are you okay? Are you okay? Bill, pour on you water, push me, I'm in the air. Guys, I come here to enjoy myself, but I hope I also help you. So that's it.
Okay. Okay, of course. Our time is far gone. But I think this conversation is to be had again. Like whatever is not enough. But maybe just to close us off. Betty, what's the, I don't know. Like, okay, now we know, right? Now we know. What would be that advice that you'd give to someone?
Okay.
That is, like he said, 1 out of every 2
Yes.
is affected.
It's a struggle.
What can
It's
you
a
do?
struggle. Now, the one part is acceptance. We know this is already a part of us. We are living with this demon. Okay? It's a part of us. One advice I would say is be patient with yourself, just even as parents, even with a child who is struggling with this. Be patient with yourself. Because believe me, the overall of emotions will also lead you further down. You can spiral into something else. So be patient. We have Bill as testimony. It can still work out for the best. Just get the right help. And the right help starts by also you listening. At times, a child goes into substance abuse as a cry. They're crying within themselves, but we are not listening. There's something they want to let out. And the only way is let me go numb. When I call mom, I'm traveling here, I'll come back, then we talk. But the boy is crying. The girl wants, Mommy, I need you. It's a cry. It's a big cry. And that also, it starts with the warning signs. Look at some signs in the kids. Anger. Anger. That's why I say, watch how your kids deal with some stuff. Stress or what. Anger speaks volume. Anger is grief within, is pain hidden. What's bothering my child? Can I sit with him through this? Can I get him to be comfortable again? Or if he's not comfortable right now, can I get him closer? I have a client who can't speak to the mom. But when she reached out, he opens up to me and doesn't want it. So at times, seek the outer help. It is still a path. And work on yourself. As parents, we tend to put it as a mission. Let's raise these kids in the right way. You are forgetting yourself. What pains are you dealing with that you might be transferring it to that child too? Can you also work on yourself? Can you heal that wound? Some are single mothers. You're still holding this hate and pain because of a breakup, and you're transferring to a child. You're not seeing it. You're not seeing it. And you push certain negative comments that pull them down. You're like your father. You know, and that's self-esteem. And this child 6, Bill is having some alcohol. I cry. See? So yes, let's be patient. Let's be empathetic. There is help. There is hope. And watch out. Your emotions, the child's emotions, behavior, and the thinking. There are some patterns we know at home. Believe me, family life is difficult. Some of us all grew up from dysfunctional families. And subconsciously, you do not know what you're giving out. What you carried from back home, that dysfunctional family, your father and all that, and this withdrawal and raising and alcohol, you could be normalizing it, but it is going to affect you. So can we break some cycles? Can we work on ourselves? Can we seek to become aware? Can you ask yourself, am I in a good space to really help my child? Because at times you're carrying much more bigger wounds than this child. So you cannot give from an empty cup. Can you fill up yourself then? Help this boy or this child. Other than that, yes, we can all move forward. We are able to. We are capable of helping these children. We are the foundation. We can change them. And starts from our belief system. At times we are too negative that we are spreading it throughout. It is just like we are sweeping the dust and going. Let's get more positive. Let's get more real. Let's look at ourselves and say, okay, I know I'm a parent, but I am terrible with these weekend drinkings. What can I do? How can I be of help to this child? You cannot keep telling your child, you are a spoiled boy and all that. They're chasing you from school, yet you're going out. Well, I'm stressed, let me go out to my boys. What are we showing? Yeah. So yeah, mental health starts with you as a parent. You can't help that child without helping yourself too.
Okay. Wow. Chantal, and then Marian, close us off. Your parting shots, words of wisdom or advice. That's how I would like to close it temporarily for today. Yes. So, start with Chantal, then.
I think they have said it all. And for me, my last message, I leave here very encouraged after Bill's testimony. Knowing that there is hope, that someone can come out of it is very encouraging for many parents out there. Like she said, we spread a lot of negative beliefs. We think there is no way out, but your testimony has really, really encouraged me. I want to also encourage other parents. We can do it together. There is hope. And yes, I live here very happy and very encouraged. That's all I can say.
What's it we are doing?
Final.
Because
for
of
today.
time.
Yeah, just
So
for
I'd
today.
like to close up with, I know my children are now saying, who is mommy now going to call? It's not me, it's one of you I'm inviting to this stage. So chairman, step up.
Right.
Faster, come when your shirt is tucked in and walk like a gentleman.
Come on now.
Take your left, walk down like a gentleman. So I came with Chief, Cheers, Cherry, Rain, and Chairman. Chachi is in school. So, sir, come up. There are steps, be careful. Is your shirt tucked in? Walk gently. Superman. Yes, yes, yes. Come up and stand behind me. Come this way, baby. Go right there and take the steps as we look at you, because we are very proud of you. So part of our earthly responsibility is to parent. And when we parent by being engaged and involved. I'm very busy, but I'm not going to be busy for my children. I'm not going to look after, I'm going to hold my shoulders. I'm not going to look after, I need your support. I'm not going to carry on other people's children as mine are a responsibility of another person. So come this way and hold me properly. Hold me properly. So, yes, his clothes are labeled because you give names with intention. It does not matter that he's in a boarding school. What matters is that he's chairman. So hold me, Amma. Hold your mommy. Hold me properly, like you love me. Don't worry. Hold me. You want to first laugh? Okay, let's do it. So, I'm calling Amma so Amma can support me and see how it looks like to be on TV and be on stage. Look up and see. It's beautiful, right? This is how you'll be one time talking to other parents and children as a leader with a microphone. You can't do that, Amma, when you've not worked hard in school, when you don't listen, when you don't do your homework on time. Put your head up. Put your head up, like stand upright. Stand upright. Okay, and so I want to say our role as parents is very serious. Don't spare them. Don't spare them and don't trust them too much. They are human beings. They are bound to be tempted. They are bound to cross the line. Bill's parents delivered to a beautiful school a fantastic child. In our times, it was either Norman Godino, Nakasero, Kawale Preparatory. It was those schools in our time. You're either going to those schools or you're in some school that your parents could afford. Did Bill's parents fail? Did Bill fail his parents? No. Someone else's children did what? Failed Bill. True or false? So the problem is really external. And much as you're trying so much to label your children's clothes and make them dress in their names, another child is reversing your child's name, telling him you're chairmanless. You're actually not chairman, you're chair something. So dress, let the children dress in the cloth that we've provided with no shame. 2 days ago, I told my colleagues, I never leave British school. It's very rare. I'm really present. I'm going to pick my child. I'm going to pick my child from school today. I will go. I told someone, get in the car, drive me to chairman's school. Swell, baby. So I told the driver to park directly opposite his way so I can take his video and I share it with the dad. My child with his shirt tucked in, his socks pulled up, my child, right? Team, the bell rang on time. My child is coming. I told the driver, pick him. I was ready with my phone. I ran and picked Rain from class, so we sat together. And when we saw him, we were very excited. But there's a step he missed, a standard operating procedure. He was supposed to reach and pass by the canteen to pick a drink. My child did not pick the drink, and yet I was not going to provide money. He's got his money deposited at the canteen. He walked straight to me, and so I asked, "You didn't pick the drink, sir?" "No, ma'am, I'm fine." "You must have a drink. That's the policy. That's the deal." "No, it's okay, ma'am." "No, it's not okay. Go back and get the drink or give me the money and I pick the drink." "I don't have the money." "Why?" My church's face changed. I gave it to the teacher. "Why?" And Amma, we're on TV, by the way. "Why did you give it to the teacher?" My teacher looked lonely. "Your teacher looked lonely." Do you know how many times I look lonely in that school and no child has ever given me money? Who are you to make your teacher happy? Why did you give the teacher money? I asked for the second time. He looked sad. Whereas other children struggle with drugs, other children struggle with many other things. My child, just like me, has got extra doses of empathy. When you have extra doses of empathy, you're a giver. You can even solve something to make the other person happy. Now, usually, it's very important that such a child is interrupted before it grows into another thing. A transactional child wants to please people. A transactional child can easily be taken out to transact. So me, the senior mother of the boy child, I know how well to deal with it. Never parent alone. Someone might know what you don't know. Engage people. Only if you're present. There's no way you can engage people when you don't do what I did. Go to school once in a while, much as you're busy. There's a likelihood there's something you'll catch. I caught my child. I told the driver, drive me to police. To police to report my child. 1, for misusing money. 2, for not doing the right thing. 3, for corrupting the teacher. 4, for bribing him. Those are 2 different things. 5, for being a weak man who looks out for weak people. Who is there? And I help them. I reached police with my handsome child. I explained these things. They would have explained them to you. Because police is not what we all think. They have a section that is trained to deal with certain things. I handed over my child, but this is what I've forgotten to tell you. In between school and police, he had written many apology letters. I did not read the letters. Sir Officer, good afternoon. This is my child. My child, by the second minute, he had lost weight. I knew it had impacted on him. It does not matter what impact it was. When you can't deal with something, don't die of stress. Engage someone else. The police officers did the best thing that I wanted. They held his arm, went with him to office, gave him a chair, and asked him to talk. He talked and they talked. I went and picked my child. I have told my child, and I'm repeating it on national television, the next time he does it, they'll cut off this finger. The next time he does it, they'll cut off the second. And if they cut off all his fingers, it means he'll not get married because they'll have nowhere to put the ring. So I won't have grandchildren. The message here is, my friends, it's a tough time. Okay? It's not just drugs. The children are seeing beyond what we even can see. Lastly, here is my story with drugs. Amma, go back and take that away.
Thank you, Amma.
I'm not preparing children for my family. I'm preparing children for your daughter. I'm preparing a husband for your child, your niece. I'm preparing an uncle, a CEO for the world. I should not be careless. There are so many homes with a black cloud hovering on top of their homes. They cannot talk. They request you to help. Madam Miriam, help me. Things are bad in my house. But if you've not interrupted, I swear, I may not be of much help, parents. I hope I'm in the camera seeing this. Interrupt even in the night. Go see how the children are sleeping. Patting their legs wide. Teach the children to manage their space. In the night, you're sleeping with this wife whose leg is the other side you're sleeping with. It's because they were not intercepted. Parents, wake up in the night and bring that leg back. Pray over the children. You don't have to sleep at the same time like them. The spouses we meet today were met then. We can't make them. And that is why for me, I'm an advocate of the boy child. I cannot go without saying it. I would like to end by thanking you so much for inviting us. When Bill does not post something on Facebook, for 3 days I go into his messengers, everything okay. But imagine, I've never met Bill. That's how influential these things are. We are reading, we are learning, we are encouraging one another, and if we keep sharing with you this information and we never see it leaked out, then you are a selfish church. Share this information, let people know that they are not alone and there are people who can help. And keep bringing a friend. I brought my children. I don't know why other people didn't bring their children. Let us impact maximally on the children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you everyone for joining us this morning. Thank you, our dear panelists, for, so much wisdom. We repent, Manange. The next one, children in the first row. Yeah? Yeah, we need to stop having the conversation on the outside. Yeah, they need to see us struggle and not know what to do. To know that it's okay to not know what to do sometimes. So thank you, Vive Church, for hosting us. Thank you, Doreen. There's of course, so those that are in the house, there's coffee/juice conversation and connect. We'll just get to interact with these panelists and, over a light meal, but just to get to, you might have some questions. We've not been able to do questions today, but if you have questions, just put them in the comments. We are definitely, this is not done. Yeah, this is not done. Thank you so much. Thank you once again for joining us. See you next time.